I'm now here in the booth, the exhibit actually, of the Celtic Fringe, and Jan here is going to tell us a little bit about this group. Jan is from Scotland, and I just spent some time in Edinburgh and in the Highlands of Scotland, your gorgeous country. And tell us a little bit about this group, please.
Right, well, we're made up of people from Northern Ireland, Scotland and Wales. And this venture came about because the Scots were very friendly with the people from Northern Ireland. And 4 years ago at this festival, the three Celtic countries won first, second and third in the group competition. So we decided we would get together and do an exhibit together, inspired by our Celtic heritage.
That's great. And what is the name of this quilt that you have made behind us?
This quilt's called Ninian's Treasure because the inspiration was a hoard of Celtic treasure found on St Ninian's Isle in the Shetlands in the 1950s.
Oh, great.
The best pieces in the hoard were what we call the penannular brooches, which are sort of broken circle. And I just extended it a little bit to make it look a bit more interesting.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. So we have Margaret here who's made this beautiful blue quilt, and I have to tell you, as I travel around the world, I see so many beautiful blue and white quilts. The last group I saw was in Japan, so I was surprised to see yours. Can you tell us a little bit about where you live and your quilt?
Well, I live in Northern Ireland,
Yes.
quite near Belfast. The quilt depicts the story of the white stag. Now, there are many versions worldwide of this story of the white stag, but the one that I chose to represent was where the stag is used to carry the souls of the dead into the land of the ever young. This section of the quilt will not be familiar to many people because it is an ancient Irish script that was found on stones, and it's called Ogham. Now, I have used the letters to form the words the white stag and Tirnanog. And Tirnanog is, of course, the land of the ever young.
So this is Bethan from Wales, and she's going to tell us about her piece.
My piece is based on a medieval Welsh poem, well, earlier than that, 6th century Welsh poem, but it was written in southern Scotland, modern-day Scotland, because that area then was a Welsh-speaking area. And it's a poem about a big battle that happened, and all these men were killed, and it's a memorial poem, and I've made my quilt based on that. It began with a day of fabric dyeing, and a piece of fabric came out that looked like a row of horsemen, and I thought, that's a really nice idea, so the quilt grew out of that.
And I'd like to ask you also about your piece here.
Well, I wanted to do a legend which was local. I grew up on the shores of Larnloch and always have known the story of the mermaid that was fished out of Larnloch way back in the year 571. Then I discovered there was a second legend about a mermaid, much later, 1816. And I then discovered that it was my great-great-grandfather had spun a hoax story about a mermaid.
Oh my gosh.
So the quilt is called Something Fishy.